Hi, YouTube friends. I'm an interdimensional communicator, and the clip that follows is part one of a full transmission that came through in a recent live session. For the third week in a row, Ascended Master Yeshua, also known as Jesus, came through with a message. But this time he was joined by Ascended Master Mary Magdalene. What they shared builds directly on the last 2 weeks, but takes it a step further. Because this isn't just about what happens during this lifetime. It's about what will happen at the end of it. In recent messages, they introduced us to the idea that every soul ultimately is welcomed into the heavenly realm, no exceptions. And for a lot of people, that was challenging. But this message goes beyond that. It begins to explain what actually happens in heaven and what happens after that. Not symbolically, not metaphorically, but as a real part of the soul's experience. So if you've been feeling the shift in these messages, this is where it deepens. Here's part one of the full transmission. Yeah, Yeshua is here for the third Friday in a row. Coming in for part three, I guess. Yes. Okay. Yes. Okay. So Yeshua came in and right away I heard him say Mary Magdalene. And I'm like, oh yeah, someone had a question about Mary Magdalene. We'll just confirm again that you were married. And he's like, no. She's here too. So is that correct that Yeshua and Mary Magdalene are here with us? Yes. So now, let me just get into what they want to share with us. So yes, absolutely. They were married. Absolutely. Yes, they had 5 children. That was probably the hardest part of the whole crucifixion itself, was Yeshua is saying that it wasn't being on the cross. It wasn't healing from the wounds. It was being forced to leave Mary Magdalene and his children. They're chiming in again about the value of wholeness, of accepting our wholeness. It's very human for us to want others to suffer. And we can probably come up with a good reason why. We want the PDF files to suffer because they harmed children. Yeah. That is not what we're meant. We are not meant to be motivated by other people's suffering. We are not meant to walk through our world saying, I'm better than them, and I sure hope they know it. And maybe it's my job to tell them. That is like that's just one of the weird things about humans. Not quite as weird as us killing each other, because we're the only species that does that. We're the only species that is motivated to kill each other and to destroy our environment. No one else does that. They're just like, I don't know how I can get body language, but they send me body language. And every time they talk about like humans and what we do to each other, their body language is just like, ugh. What are we going to do with you? What are we going to do with you? Silly goose. So that's something to know also, is that it's not like we never disappoint our pantheon. Sure, we do that all the time. But the way it lands is not, and you've done it now you're going to be punished, no. They're just like, oh, you harmed children again, shoot. Ugh, darn. Well, maybe next time. They're also coming in, both Mary Magdalene and Yeshua want you to understand, because a lot of the comments coming through on the most recent message make it really clear that as humans, we really struggle to look at something as a pattern, a broad pattern across lifetimes. And that's by design. We were trained to believe that we only have one life and we're probably going to screw it up, is kind of what we're supposed to believe. We're supposed to believe that we have one chance
and we're probably going to screw it up, but our best odds of not screwing it up would be to follow these very specific rules and then beg for forgiveness if we stray. That whole mental model is fiction and designed to make you weak, designed to make you feel limited, designed to make you feel flawed, designed to make you feel at risk for losing something important. That is all by design. And that came from humans, opposing forces, humans. Organized religion does this all around the world. Government does this. We're always being conditioned to believe in scarcity and judgment. The truth is the opposite. There's zero scarcity. You have as many lifetimes as you need, and most of us have had thousands. So there's no scarcity. There's also no judgment. There's no judgment beyond our own soul. Part of the most effective piece of the strategy used by opposing forces was them convincing humanity that there's a judge outside of you that you've got to appease in some way. You've got to make sacrifice. You've got to worship. You've got to, beg for forgiveness or beg for favor. That was really effective in meeting the goals of opposing forces because it puts you in the position of weakness. It puts you behind the ball, like you're already in danger of losing something. Yeshua and Mary Magdalene are here to say there is nothing you can do to lose your opportunity to be welcomed into what comes next, which is the heavenly realm. Now, what they haven't commented on yet is what happens then. And what happens then is a whole lot different, depending on what kind of tragedy you might have survived or caused. What kind of journey you took and retook, and what kind of pattern you either continued or broke.
So that's part one of this transmission. As you can feel, they're building something step by step. And part two is where they take it even farther into what happens after each soul enters the heavenly realm and how that process connects back to your current life. I'll be sharing that next time. If you have questions about this or any of the messages that I post, I invite you to join the conversation in my live channeling sessions Mondays and Wednesdays inside the membership here on YouTube, and then also Fridays at 1 p.m. Eastern for the public. I'd love to see you there. Otherwise, I'll see you here next time for part two.